episode of my TARDIS tutorial. In this episode we're in a new world and I'm going to show you animated doors for the interior of your TARDIS. These would probably be most useful in a classic series inspired interior, but let's get right on to it. So yeah, you can see this is just an interior built behind the exterior just for example's sake, but you can see the interior doors are currently closed and it just kind of looks like a brick wall. You can make it look like whatever you want, but let's get on to opening it. For the exterior, I just have a button like this, and when we open it, you can see very cool and smooth animation. And if you want to see it again, I have another button here on the console that also activates it. You can see there you go. It slides open, slides shut, and when it shuts, it also turns back into blocks so that you cannot exit. But if you press it, obviously you can exit. For the time of which it is opening, whenever it's closing, you cannot exit, as you see. So yeah, this is obviously done using falling blocks and something else. I'll let you know what that is right now. So how does this all work? Well, it's actually down to some hidden entities. So you can see behind here we actually have some armor stands, and you just want to spawn these exactly in the center of whatever blocks you want to spawn them on, which would be obviously to the sides of your doorway. And then you want to make absolutely certain not only are they exactly centered on your block, but you also want to make sure they are facing inward for this side and inward for this side, like this. So to summon these armor stands, what you can do is place a block where you want them to be summoned, and then you can do /set block, and then tab, 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 and that will input the coordinates of that block. You want to just remove the beginning portion and type instead summon armor stand, and then you leave those coordinates there, and then you want to open some curly brackets and close them, and then inside there you want to type custom name colon quotation mark backslash quotation mark, and then you can name it whatever you want. For testing's sake, I named mine Fred, and then you would just do closing backslash, the exact same one, and then just do your quotation marks, and then you should be able to summon in your armor stand called Fred. And you can see because I've named it Fred, it's also getting the falling blocks, but we will get to how those work in a moment. So obviously you want to do that, and if it's not facing the correct way, if it's not facing toward your doorway, what you can do is do /execute as @e name equals Fred at s run tp at s, and then you just do tilde tilde tilde, and then whatever direction you want to be facing. So I believe in this case it is facing 180 degrees. Now this isn't relative to where it's facing right now, this is just in general directions. So what you'd want to do is just make sure and just see where that makes it face, and if it's correct, leave it. Obviously that was correct, but let's just say we change it to like 0. Okay, this one's Fred, but you can see it's turned all the way around, and obviously it's no longer facing the right way. Obviously it's easier to tell once you have the falling blocks in place, but in order to get it in the right direction, you just obviously change these coordinates to something like 180 or 90 or 0 or even like 270. But yeah, just try those until you get it to work. Obviously in this case it's 180, and in this case it's the opposite, so this one would be 0. And this armor stand, I believe I haven't given it a name, but you can call it whatever. You could even call these, like, I don't know, door 1 and door 2 or something, if you want to be boring. Just kidding. But yeah, now on to the section with the falling blocks. This is very simple. It's just execute as @e type equals armor stand, and obviously if you have more armor stands in your world, you'd want to specify the name, and how you do that is just comma name equals Fred, or, you know, door 1 and door 2, or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, then add at s, run, summon, falling block, and then these are caret markers, and they are different from tildes, and they just mean that wherever the armor stand is facing is where this is getting executed. So if you put it behind this last tilde, do a 1, it'll place it 1 block in front of the armor stand. You're summoning a falling block 1 block in front of the armor stand. And then inside your curly brackets, you want to do block state, colon, then another set of curly brackets, inside which is name, colon, and then your 2 quotations, and you're going to say your block name, which in this case is stone bricks. You can make it whatever you want though. And then outside the curly bracket, you're going to do no gravity :1, comma, drop item :0b, and time :599. What these do is no gravity makes it not kind of jitter up and down. Drop item 0b makes it not drop the item over time. And time 599 specifies the amount of time we want this to be summoned, which in this case will be 1 tick. And then this above it is basically the exact same thing, except it's summoning it 1 block above. So yeah, that's just so that you got your 1 down here and your 1 up here. So now let's move on to the actual animation portion of it. So obviously, if you're using a button, you're going to want to somehow tie that up to a redstone contraption. And obviously, if you don't want to do that, you could do like a wireless system like in my previous videos. But anyway, either way, you want it running into these 3 command blocks. And what these are going to do is they're going to be on repeat and needs redstone. And they're going to fill the area. They're going to fill this area here with air. So you just do /fill ~, enter. And then do over here, you're going to press your up arrow. And then tab, my mistake, not tilde. And then you're just going to type air, like so. And if you did that, it would fill that space with air, just like that. And that's how we are allowed to walk through. And so when you press the button, it'll obviously fill that with air so you can walk through. And then it is also doing these 2, which are actually moving the armor stands. And what they're doing is executing as at E, type equals armor stand, name equals !Fred. And that just means any armor stand that's not named Fred. And then obviously the other one's the same thing, but just with the armor stand that is named Fred. However, obviously in this case, you would just specify a name like door 2 or door 1. Obviously you wouldn't want it just doing every armor stand in your case. But in mine, this is a new world, so I can do that. Add at S, run TP at S, ~, and then this is obviously the directional thing again, except this is relative to the armor stand, hence why there are tildes. And you're just going to do a 3 there to specify the speed at which this is going to turn. And then this here is the other armor stand, which obviously in this case is just called Fred. Obviously this would be your other door. So whatever you want to call that, just do execute as at E, name equals Fred, add at S, run TP at S, ~, and then these final 2 tildes. This is -3, so you saw this one was 3 and this one's -3. That's because the 2 doors are going to be turning in opposite directions. So yeah, that for about 20 ticks or 1 second is going to rotate the armor stands, and it will do it such that it'll rotate them 90 degrees, and obviously because these falling blocks are getting summoned 1 block in front of them, they are going to follow the rotation of the armor stand, and they're going to kind of go like that, hence making that opening animation. So yeah, how do we get it to kind of close after it's done? Well, that's actually handled over here, and what I have here is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeaters, each on 4 ticks, and obviously that adds up to 20 ticks total. And so after 20 ticks has elapsed, it will run these 3 commands, and these ones are basically doing the exact opposite. It is filling those spaces that we filled with air back in with barriers so that you can't walk through it, and it is also teleporting the armor stands in the opposite direction. So this is the exact same commands as the other side, except with the opposite direction. So this, for example, would have been -3, and you want to make it +3, and vice versa. This would have been positive, and you want to make it negative, like such. So yeah, basically, to recap, when you press any of these buttons, it is going to fill the space with air so that you can walk through, and it's going to, for 20 ticks, rotate the armor stands, and the falling blocks will follow. And then 20 ticks later, it is going to fill that space back in with barriers and rotate the armor stands back into place. So yeah, it's honestly quite simple. Let's just go ahead and hit the button again just to show you. And you can see it rotates the armor stands, and you can see it in action actually. Now that we've got these blocks uncovered, you can see they are rotating and the blocks are following their rotation. And you can see it removes the barriers and then it replaces them. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. This has been my tutorial on this opening door animation for your TARDIS. But that's about all. I've been Tebow2. Be sure to subscribe, to follow my Instagram, Tibo2it, to follow my Twitter, which is also Tibo2it, to join my Discord, and lastly, to have a nice day. Goodbye.